I found out my husband was cheating when his mistress showed up to our anniversary party wearing the same necklace he'd given me that morning. I'm Sarah, 32, a graphic designer at a mid-sized marketing firm in Portland. My husband Jake and I had been together for 8 years, married for 5. We had the kind of relationship people envied, or so I thought. Weekend hikes, inside jokes, a mortgage on a renovated Craftsman in Southeast. I'd spent 3 months planning this anniversary party, inviting 40 of our closest friends and family to celebrate half a decade of what I genuinely believed was a solid marriage. The weeks leading up to the party were normal. Better than normal, actually. Jake had been attentive, bringing home flowers on random Tuesdays, texting me silly memes during work hours. We'd made love more frequently. He'd started coming to bed earlier instead of staying up, working on his laptop like he used to. I remember thinking we were in a second honeymoon phase. I remember feeling grateful. There were small things, if I'm being honest. His phone was always face down now. He'd started going to the gym at weird hours, 6 a.m. instead of after work. When I'd suggest joining him, he'd say the morning crowd was his time to clear his head. He'd bought new cologne, something woody and expensive that I hadn't picked out. But these seemed like positive changes. Self-improvement. I was proud of him. The morning of our anniversary, Jake woke me up with coffee in bed and a small velvet box. Inside was a delicate gold necklace with a tiny diamond pendant. Simple, elegant, exactly my style. 5 years down, forever to go, he'd whispered, fastening it around my neck. I'd cried. Actually cried. I wore it all day, while setting up for the party, touching it every few minutes like a talisman of our love. The party started at 7. Our backyard was strung with bistro lights. I'd hired a bartender, ordered catering from our favorite Italian place. By 8, the place was packed with laughter and music. I was in the kitchen refilling the ice bucket when I heard Jake's voice rise above the music, that particular tone he used when greeting someone enthusiastically. I walked out to see him hugging a woman I'd never met. She was beautiful in that effortless way, long dark hair, sun-kissed skin, wearing a green dress that probably cost more than my mortgage payment. But that's not what made my stomach drop. It was the necklace. The exact same necklace Jake had given me that morning, glinting under the string lights, resting against her collarbone. My hand went to my own throat automatically. The room started to tilt. Sarah? Jake's voice sounded far away. This is Melissa from the Portland branch. I told you about her. She just transferred to our office. I didn't remember him mentioning anyone named Melissa. I didn't remember much of anything except the matching necklaces and the way he'd touched her lower back when he'd hugged her, a gesture so familiar it made my chest hurt. Beautiful necklace, I heard myself say. My voice sounded robotic. Thank you. She beamed, touching it the same way I'd been touching mine all day. It was a gift from someone special. I actually wasn't sure if I should wear it tonight, but he insisted. Melissa. Jake cut her off, his voice sharp. I watched his face pale, watched him realize what was happening in real time. The ice bucket slipped from my hands. Cubes scattered across the deck like shattered glass. Everything that happened next felt like I was watching from outside my body. My best friend Emma rushing over. Jake trying to pull me inside. Melissa's confused face cycling through emotions as she pieced it together. Surprise, horror, guilt. Me, yanking the necklace off so hard the clasp broke, throwing it at Jake's chest. You gave her the same one. I wasn't asking. You gave your mistress the same anniversary gift you gave your wife. Sarah, let me explain. At our anniversary party, my voice was rising. People were staring. You invited her to our anniversary party. I didn't invite her, he said desperately. Marcus must have. I told him I was having people over. I didn't think. How long? I was shaking so hard my teeth chattered. Melissa took a step back. Jake, you said you were separated. You said. Separated? I laughed, and it sounded unhinged. Does this look separated to you? Did the anniversary party not tip you off? I don't remember pushing through the crowd. I don't remember grabbing my purse or my keys. I remember Emma trying to stop me, and I remember shoving her away harder than I meant to. I remember the drive to the Holiday Inn on 82nd Avenue, gripping the steering wheel so tight my knuckles went white. I remember sitting in the parking lot for 20 minutes, watching couples come and go, wondering if they were cheaters too. The hotel room smelled like industrial cleaner and sadness. I sat on the edge of the bed in my party dress, mascara running, unable to form coherent thoughts. My phone was exploding with texts: Emma, my sister, friends who'd witnessed the meltdown. 15 missed calls from Jake. I turned it off. At 2 a.m., I turned it back on. There was a text from a number I didn't recognize. "This is Melissa. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I need to talk to you. Please." I stared at the message for 10 minutes before responding. How long? The 3 dots appeared immediately, like she'd been waiting for months. "But Sarah, there's more. Can we meet tomorrow? There are things you need to know about Jake. Things I just found out tonight, too." My hands were shaking again. "Tell me now. Not over text. Please. Coffee tomorrow? 10 a.m.? The Stumptown on Division?" I didn't sleep. I lay in that hotel bed cycling through every moment of the past 4 months, recoloring every memory with this new information. The flowers. The early morning gym sessions. The good mood. It was all guilt. All of it. He wasn't being a better husband. He was trying to balance 2 women. At 9:45 a.m., I walked into Stumptown wearing yesterday's dress and sunglasses. Melissa was already there, looking as wrecked as I felt. No makeup. Hoodie and jeans. The necklace was gone. "I broke up with him last night," she said before I even sat down. After the party. When I understood what he'd done. "For months," I said flatly. "I'm sorry. I really thought he told me you'd grown apart, that you were basically roommates, that you'd talked about divorce. He showed me an apartment listing once, said he was looking at places." She was crying now. "I'm not trying to make excuses. I should have asked more questions. I should have. God, I'm so stupid. Join the club." I signaled the barista for coffee. "You said there were things I needed to know." She pulled out her phone. "Last night, after everything exploded, I went through our messages. Really went through them. And I found..." She swiped to a screenshot. "Look at the date. It was a text from Jake to Melissa. 'Can't wait to see you tonight. Told us I have a work dinner.'" She believed it so easily. The date was our anniversary. Last year's anniversary. My coffee cup stopped halfway to my mouth. Last year? It's been more than 4 months, Sarah. I thought we'd met at a work conference in February, but I found earlier messages I'd forgotten about. We first started talking last summer. 1.5 years. She was sobbing now. He's been lying to both of us the entire time. The coffee shop tilted. 1.5 years. That whole second honeymoon phase last spring. The vacation to Cannon Beach where he'd been so romantic. The weekend we decided to try for a baby. Thank God I'd never gotten pregnant. All of it had been a lie. "There's more," Melissa whispered. She showed me another screenshot. A Venmo transaction. Jake had sent someone named Britt H. $500 with a heart emoji. The date was 3 weeks ago. "Who's Britt?" I asked, though I already knew the answer in my gut. "I don't know, but I think..." She swiped to show me more. Different names. Different amounts. $300 to Ashley M. $200 to Rachel K. All in the past 6 months. "Sarah, I think we're not the only ones." The room was spinning. I excused myself to the bathroom and threw up. When I came back, Melissa had ordered me water. "I'm going to help you," she said quietly. "Whatever you need. Bank statements, messages, whatever." He played both of us. We deserved to know everything. I spent the next week in that hotel room becoming a detective. Melissa sent me every text, every photo, every email she'd ever received from Jake. I accessed our bank accounts. Thank God I'd never removed myself as an authorized user. The credit card statements told a story I'd been too naive to see. Charges at restaurants I'd never been to. Hotels in Seattle when he'd claimed to be visiting his brother. A recurring charge to an Ashley Madison subscription that made me physically ill. I hired a lawyer. A pit bull of a woman named Rachel Chun who took one look at my evidence and smiled coldly. Oregon's a no-fault divorce state, but this level of financial infidelity? We're going to have a very interesting conversation about asset division. On day 9, I went back to our house when I knew Jake would be at work. I packed methodically, clothes, documents, my grandmother's jewelry. I was in his office looking for our passports when I found the folder. It was labeled personal and shoved in the back of his file cabinet. Inside were printouts of texts. Not his texts. Mine. Screenshots of my conversations with Emma, with my sister, with my mom. He'd been monitoring my phone. For how long, I didn't know. There were notes in his handwriting. Suspect something. Need to be more careful. Anniversary gift idea. Give them both the same thing. They'll never know. He'd planned it. The matching necklaces weren't a stupid mistake. It was intentional. Some sick game. I took photos of everything and sent them to Rachel. Then I went to Jake's office. I'd never shown up at his workplace before. I knew his secretary, Brenda, from company parties. She looked terrified when she saw me. Sarah, I don't think. Is he in a meeting? Yes, but... I walked past her and opened the conference room door. Jake was mid-presentation, laptop projected on the screen behind him. 12 colleagues turned to stare at me. I recognized Marcus, the friend who'd apparently invited Melissa to our party. I recognized Jake's boss, David. Sarah. Jake stood up, face white. This isn't a good time. I'm filing for divorce, I said clearly. I'm also filing a police report for unauthorized access to my personal communications, since I found evidence you've been spying on my phone. And I'm here to let your boss know that you've been using company credit cards for personal expenses, specifically to fund multiple affairs. The room was dead silent. You might want to check the charges from the Seattle Marriott last month, I continued, looking at David. Jake told me he was visiting his brother. He told you he was meeting with a client. He was actually with a woman named Ashley. I have receipts. Literally. Jake lunged forward. You crazy. Don't. My voice was ice. Don't you dare call me crazy. I found the folder, Jake. The one where you documented how to manipulate me. Where you planned giving us matching gifts. Where you logged my conversations because you'd hacked my phone. Marcus stood up. Jake, man. What the hell? I'm also pregnant, I said. It was a lie, but I wanted him to feel even a fraction of the panic I'd felt. Though I guess now I'll never know if it's yours or if you'd already exposed me to God knows what from all your other women. I walked out before he could respond. Brenda was crying at her desk. I heard shouting behind me as I left the building. The fallout was nuclear. Jake was fired within 48 hours. The company had a strict ethics policy, and the misuse of corporate cards alone was grounds for termination. But it was the workplace affair with Melissa, which violated their fraternization policy, since he was technically her supervisor, that really sealed it. David called me personally to apologize, which was surreal. Our friend group splintered. Emma and my core girlfriend stood by me. The guys mostly ghosted both of us, uncomfortable with the mess. Jake's family tried to call me, his mother leaving tearful voicemails insisting there had to be a misunderstanding. I blocked them all. The divorce was ugly. Jake tried to claim I'd publicly humiliated him and damaged his career, so he deserved more of our assets. Rachel laughed in his lawyer's face. When she presented the evidence of financial infidelity, the secret accounts, the money he'd funneled to various women, the subscription services, his lawyer advised him to settle quickly. But the real karma came 6 weeks after I'd filed. I got a call from a woman named Britt. Remember that Venmo transaction Melissa had found? Turns out Britt wasn't another girlfriend. She was a private investigator Jake had hired to follow me. He'd been so paranoid I'd cheat on him that he'd paid someone to document my whereabouts, photograph me at lunches with friends, track my movements. I'm calling because he never paid my final invoice, Britt said dryly. And I figured you'd want to know that he asked me to fabricate evidence of infidelity. I refused, obviously, but he might try to find someone less ethical. I recorded the call and sent it to Rachel. Jake's attempt to claim any moral high ground evaporated. The divorce was finalized in 4 months. I got the house, most of our savings, and my dignity back. It's been 8 months now. I'm writing this from my home office, the one that used to be Jake's. I repainted it sage green and filled it with plants. I got promoted at work. Melissa and I aren't friends exactly, but we text occasionally. She's dating a woman now, which she says is karmic justice and also much better. I went on my first date last month. His name is Patrick, he's a teacher, and when he picked me up, he noticed the door was slightly warped and offered to help me fix it sometime. Not as a line, just as a genuine offer. We talked for 4 hours about everything except my ex-husband. He texted me the next day exactly when he said he would. I still have bad days. Days where I wonder what I missed, how I could have been so blind. Days where I'm angry at myself for wasting 8 years. But mostly, I'm learning to trust my instincts again. To see red flags for what they are. To understand that someone treating you well isn't always the same as someone loving you honestly. Jake tried to friend me on Instagram last week. I didn't block him. I just didn't respond. His profile is public. He looks tired, older, living in a studio apartment across town. Part of me feels sorry for him. Most of me just feels free. The necklace is in a drawer somewhere. I never did find out if he bought 3 of them, or just 2. But it doesn't matter anymore. Some gifts aren't treasures. They're just evidence that you survived something you never should have had to endure in the first place. And sometimes the best revenge isn't what you do to someone else. It's what you become once they're gone.